okay?
Hey, we need to have a conversation. You're very young. I don't want to hurt you.
I think I have power over you. Because I could make one call and you lose everything. Does that turn you on when I say that?
How's it going, guys? Welcome back to my channel and time for another episode of Luke's Reviews. On today's video, we're going to be discussing what might be the raunchiest film in cinemas currently. It stars Nicole Kidman and Harris Dickinson in Babygirl. Nicole Kidman plays Romy, a CEO of a tech company who is somewhat unfulfilled in her marriage. Romy has certain sexual desires that her husband, played by Antonio Banderas, simply doesn't understand, but also doesn't necessarily know the full extent of. But when Romy is unexpectedly assigned to be a mentor to a new intern, she discovers that these very desires can be satisfied with him, and thus begins a dangerous, erotic affair. Babygirl is a lot of things. It's passionate, it openly explores sexual gratification for women, taboo subjects such as kinks, but fundamentally is a story about power versus control. But what I wasn't expecting upon leaving my screening of Babygirl was to have found the whole thing quite safe and conventional. Don't get me wrong, I applaud writer-director Halina Reijn for not wanting to gloss over or censor much of the explicit nature of Romy's story. Nicole Kidman, for instance, this, if you want to call it such a thing, is a fearless performance, and she's great in this role as a steely, unflappable CEO by day, but vulnerable and insecure by night. There is no hiding away in such a role either. You are, in some cases, quite literally bare. Sure, it is by no means as flaunted as, let's say, Emma Stone's performance in Poor Things was, but her determination and willingness to just go all in these very intense sexual encounters is key to the audience's investment in Romy and her story. As for her younger counterpart, played by Harris Dickinson, his character was a little bit more challenging to unpack. Dickinson opts to play the character of Samuel as a touch emotionally distant. There's little to know about him. His motivations about why he's pursuing Romy are, for the most part, somewhat unclear. There is also a lack of charisma to him, which I actually don't believe was a choice by Dickinson, because I know what he's capable of as an actor, and I think perhaps may have been a decision by Reijn herself. Why? I'm not entirely sure, because I do think that decision somewhat deflates their relationship. Someone who I don't believe is getting anywhere near enough praise in this film, though, is Antonio Banderas. It is always really refreshing to watch an actor give a performance, and in that performance, they can remind you just how good they are. And that was me watching Banderas in Babygirl. A supportive husband who's caught in the crossfire of a somewhat unorthodox affair, but to which he doesn't really share any of the blame. But let's journey back to my disappointment in the story as a whole. There's an opportunity to shine a new, fresh spotlight on some very interesting concepts, to dismantle lesser discussed taboos on quite a substantial platform. And believe me, there are a number of instances where there are sequences and interactions that will more than likely give your grandmother a heart attack if you take her to see this film. But the story that is packaged into is quite a formulaic business affair. I was hoping that for a film that contains such daring elements that the story would also look to push the boat out too, but it doesn't. I also wasn't particularly fond of the camera work within Babygirl. Halina Reijn decides that she wants to shoot much of it handheld cameras. And so I can understand the vision in that respect, because you want it to make it seem as intimate and personal as possible. But there were numerous occasions where I was pleading for the camera to just steady itself, to just not be on a constant shudder. Like, it can just freeze for a second, take in the frame, appreciate the image, but it was always on the move. And the soundtrack, that could have been better also. I really liked the score. I thought the score was very effective with these deep almost bassy-like breaths that are echoing down your neck, but some of the soundtrack decisions, whether it's what song they're playing or when they choose to play it, just didn't work for me. There are these very intense, sensual scenes, and then In Excess starts playing, and it completely takes you out of the moment. Babygirl had the opportunity to be a lot better than it turned out to be, but I would still recommend checking it out. It's very well acted, particularly from Kidman and Banderas, and is one of the more honest and open erotic dramas I've seen geared for a mainstream audience. However, it is a shame that the story can't help but fall in line among other plots of a similar structure. So I'm going to give Babygirl a 6.5 out of 10. Anyway, guys, those were my thoughts on Babygirl. Let me know, have you had a chance to see the film yet? What did you think? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. And my question to you, many critics are considering Nicole Kidman in Babygirl to be her best performance, but I want to pass it over to you. What do you think is Nicole Kidman's best performance? But that's all the time we have for today, so thank you very much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.
Hello, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have, make sure to click that like button, and if you aren't already, click that subscribe button too.